That's right, folks. We got some more Dynasty Buy Lows. Today, we got some rookies and vets to bet on for your Dynasty leagues heading into 2022. Before we do, make sure you follow us across the board at Razzball Fantasy on YouTube. We also have IG and TikTok, folks. Daily content going on there as well. But please subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, guys. We're going to have a lot of exciting stuff going on, not only through the end of August, but once the season starts, we're going to be doing a Sunday live show where we do all your start sits. So join, get those notifications, and jump on to Razzball Fantasy on YouTube. But also make sure you're checking us out at the flagship, razzball.com. Not only are we killing it on the baseball, hockey, and basketball side, but we also have great content, of course, on football. So go check out the tools. We have the ADP tool, which has 6 different sites. So if you need a consensus to get an understanding where all these players are going, go to razzball.com and check it out. We also have team name generators. We also have trade analyzers. We have everything you need for your fantasy leagues all season long. So go to razzball.com to check it out. But without further ado, let's start the show. All right, off the IR. Actually, it was the PUP. It wasn't even that long. Off the PUP list. Paul Blake is back in, folks, to talk some Dynasty. We missed him this week, but he's back in action. You can follow him at Paul Blake, PB12 on Twitter. What's going on, Paul Blake?
Hey, Bobby, not much. Super stoked for the season. What's shaking, man? How you doing?
Ready to talk Dynasty, man. It's been fun watching preseason. I am a degenerate. I've been playing DFS, and I'm watching the fourth stringers in the fourth quarter because I wanted some guy to catch a pass so I could win a DFS. So I'm in peak form already, just losing my mind over the fourth string quarterback throwing a screen pass to the fifth string running back and getting a couple points for DFS. So a lot of fun. But today's episode, we're doing a bit of a hybrid. We're going to be doing a little bit of vets and rookies to bet on for Dynasty. So you're going to take the approach of these are around maybe rookie Dynasty picks that really have piqued your interest that you think you should take a shot on. And I'm actually going to take the veteran approach where I'm going to say, here's some guys. Now, if you watched the episode I did the other day, I did 10 of them, but these guys are like my top 5 that I really like. And I'm going to talk a little bit about those. So let's get right into it right now and talk about, I think this one's probably one of the biggest ones this offseason. Dameon Pierce of the Houston Texans. So talk to us about Pierce, why you're targeting him in your drafts.
Yeah, I love Dameon Pierce. Liked him a lot going into the process and only like him more as camp and preseason has gone underway here. To me, I thought maybe he'd take the RB1 halfway through the season. He may get it right out of the gate. I had him ranked 17th in my previous ranking. I'm pushing Pierce all the way up to top 10, top 12 territory. If you get an RB1 in a Dynasty rookie draft, you got to get him. He's top 10. I love Dameon Pierce. Let's go with him.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And listen, the kid looks sharp. He also did not play this last preseason, right? So a lot of excitement there. While Marlon Mack got some time, Pierce got rested. So we'll see what that means for the rest of August. Let's jump down to one of my vets. It's Allen Robinson. And you know, there's one of the things about Allen Robinson, he's going into a situation where he's going to play with his best. This is actually going to be the best quarterback of his career, not the narrative that last year was where Justin Fields / Andy Dalton, but also Matthew Stafford is a talent elevator. We've seen career years out of guys like Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay, but we've seen historic seasons from Cooper Kupp and Calvin Johnson. And listen, outside, and I think a lot of people think because of Cooper Kupp's dominance that there's not a lot of targets to go around. But really, outside of Kupp and Allen Robinson, it's like Higbee, and the wide receiver 3 is a question mark. So I think you should definitely go after Allen Robinson. Robert Woods last season was averaging 15 PPR points per game. So he was inside the top 20. And currently, Allen Robinson's dynasty is a wide receiver 4. I think he's got 3 more seasons of wide receiver 2 production and more than that. So I think buying him right now for maybe a high-end second-round pick is definitely something I would consider. Let's jump down to your next player, George Pickens.
Yeah, Pickens had him near the top 10 just recently. I think I had him at 11, but to me, you got to bump this guy up to 5 to 10. You really got to consider that this may be the best wide receiver in that loaded wide receiver draft class from 2022. So, I was a little bit reluctant, but I love everything he does. Big guy, talented, can take it to the house, but can also take it underneath, and a great blocker, which doesn't sound like much, but I think it helps him stay on the field. Love George Pickens. Bump him up if you have to. You want him on your fantasy team.
I think the only thing that worries me is that Deontay Johnson and Claypool are under contract for 2 more years, and they're going to demand targets. So is Kenny Pickett the truth? I think that's really going to be the question because he support these 3 guys for fantasy, but Pickett has looked amazing. Let's jump into my next guy. It's Logan Thomas. And I think a lot of people are forgetting about Logan Thomas because of the injury. But last season, listen, just 2 years ago, he was a tight end 4 in fantasy. Then the next year, he was a top 8 tight end. And before his injury. Now, I understand for this season, for 2022, he's probably not someone that's going to do a lot for you, probably not until November. But I think long term, this guy is still in his prime. He's also an athletic freak, a former quarterback transferred to a tight end. But Carson Wentz is now his quarterback. Carson Wentz, in the 5 seasons when he was the main starter for the Philadelphia Eagles, 3 times they were number 1 in the NFL in tight end fantasy points per game, and they were in the top 4 all 5 seasons. Carson Wentz loves his tight ends, and Logan Thomas is in an offense that he's already been a top 5 tight end. I think you could probably get him for probably a late second, early third round dynasty pick. And this guy is going to be a starter for you for the next few seasons. Let's jump down to a guy who's been really emerging in the preseason. It's Ty Chandler, Minnesota Vikings running back. Talk to us a little bit about Chandler.
Yeah, I like Ty Chandler a lot. Started out college at Tennessee, and then he transferred North Carolina for last season, where he took over what was essentially the Michael Carter role from the season before. And I thought he looked better than Michael Carter in that role. Vikings obviously saw something in him, drafted him in the 5th round, and right now he's been tearing it up. I was a little bit nervous because he did leave camp. He left practice on Wednesday a little early with an injury issue, but he came back, had a strong preseason game over the weekend. I've never been a big Alexander Madison fan. I like Chandler more. I'd take him within your top 30 of your rookie draft.
Yep, and I think Madison is actually a free agent after this season too, so who knows? This kid could be something special, absolutely. Next veteran on my list is actually Marquez Valdes Scantling. Now, Juju is getting a lot of buzz as the potential number 1, but he's right on his heels has been MVS. MVS is starting in 2 receiver sets. Now, when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, his number 2 receiver hasn't really been great for fantasy because it's been all Tyreek Hill and all Travis Kelce. I don't think Juju is going to be Tyreek Hill, and I think the number 2 is going to be more prevalent. The other thing I like about MVS is that Patrick Mahomes isn't the type of quarterback like Aaron Rodgers where you have to be running the right route. There's trust. Mahomes will run around and sling it to you. And I think MVS being a big body vertical threat will get a lot more opportunities in that style of offense. And I think MVS is someone that you can get pretty cheap right now, probably maybe even with a late second, early third round pick in Dynasty. So I think MVS is someone I want to take a shot on, especially because he has looked very good. And Patrick Mahomes threw to 7 different receivers. He targeted MVS twice, and then everybody else just once. So I think there's something there. MVS could be earning a bigger role. Let's talk about him. We have to. Isiah Pacheco, Kansas City Chiefs. Who doesn't love this kid at this point? Paul Blake, tell us about him.
Oh, man. Well, I've been a big fan of Pacheco early on. I think I had him the highest out of every group we had for the first round of first time we took the poll of the first rookie drafts here. But often discussed on the pod. One more reminder, draft this kid. Right now, looks like he's running back 2 for the Chiefs. If he gets a shot at number 1, he may not look back. Make sure you get him on your team.
Let me ask you, where are you taking him? You think?
So Pacheco, I got him as a top 20 player in rookie drafts. So I think I've got him behind Dameon Pierce. But if you're looking at who do I take, Rachaad White or Isiah Pacheco, I'm leaning Pacheco. So I'd probably have him. That's going to put him, 3rd or 4th running back on my list.
I think him and Brian Robinson are probably the ones climbing up draft boards the most over the last week. So let's jump down to my next veteran. It's Shi Smith. Yeah, Shi Smith is actually a veteran. He actually did play last season, a 6th round pick in 2021, kind of earned his way back, actually earned some playing time last year, and actually had a solid game last year. He flashed with a 3-4, let's say, where do I have him here? 3-4, 86 performance. Sorry, I'm in my notes here. 3 for 86 performance in week 16, but I think he has a real shot to earn that slot receiver role job in Carolina. I mean, he's facing Terrace Marshall, who has not really proven anything just yet. Robbie Anderson, who, by the way, could be a free released after this season because he does have an out. There's a lot of room here that I think you can get this guy on waivers probably in your dynasty league. So take a look. He's looked really good with Baker Mayfield, which I think is the most important thing here. So there is something there. Let's talk about the next guy, Romeo Doubs, Green Bay Packers. Talk to us about Doubs.
I just keep pushing this guy. Love that he can run after the catch. He's looked like the top rookie out of that class. So that puts him as wide receiver 2 in Green Bay behind Allen Lazard. Everyone's talking Robert Tonyan. I'm not completely sold on Tonyan there at tight end. So Doubs could get the third most targets out of that team there in Green Bay. I think he does a lot with them. I got him as a top 15 pick in rookie drafts.
Yeah, I listen, this kid looks great. I think the problem is Rodgers is still making comments about the road. It's like he's always kind of like wishy-washy. One day he's like, oh, this kid is making plays. The next day he's like, he doesn't even run the right routes. So I don't know. I just think dynasty-wise, so this kid is going to be a stud. You could already just see it on the field. My last veteran is Hayden Hurst. I think personally that right now today you could probably get him for like a late third-round pick in Dynasty. You could probably get him for, and that's really cheap. The reason why I like Hurst is simple. He's a former first-round pick, so he has draft pedigree. But he was actually just beat out. He had these anxiety issues early on in his career, was not getting a lot of playing time. And then, of course, Mark Andrews in the same draft class takes him out. Then he gets traded to the Falcons. His lone season as the starter, 56 receptions, 571 yards, 6 touchdowns. Not too bad. Then they draft Kyle Pitts. But now he's stepping into a situation with an elite quarterback. Joe Burrow is the next great quarterback. I'm buying it. In the 10 games in 2021 where the Bengals threw the ball at a league average rate, league average is 34 attempts a game. CJ Uzomah averaged 10 PPR points per game. I just think that when this offense throws, you have an elite quarterback. There is a need for the tight end in this offense. I think Hayden Hurst is someone you can get really cheap, especially if you're a win-now team that's just missing that one last piece at tight end. Hayden Hurst you can go grab very cheaply. Last one, Isaiah Likely, Baltimore Ravens tight end. Talk to us about Likely.
Yeah, just keeping with the tight end theme. I love Hayden Hurst. Great call by you, Bobby. Plus, he's a former baseball player. I always love the guys who can play a couple of sports. That's an athletic dude. Another athletic guy here with Isaiah Likely, 4th-round pick from Coastal Carolina. I wasn't completely sold on him. I actually liked the other tight end that they drafted from Iowa State a little bit more. But this guy's the one who's making the hay. This guy's the one who's turning the heads in camp. Baltimore may be searching for playmakers because no Marquise Brown, got some question marks at the running back position. Likely he's a tight ended name, but that's it. He's not there to block guys. He's there to catch passes. He may be a guy they look to because he's looked great so far. Isaiah Likely, I've got him as a top 50 guy. Maybe if you can get him in round 3 of your rookie draft, take him and hope for the best because I think you may get it.
Well, that's how you do it, folks. Those are some Dynasty Buy Lows. Me and Paul Blake are in mid-season form, and it's not even September 1 yet, folks. Once again, I'm your host, Bobby LaMarco. Make sure you're following us across the board at Razzball Fantasy on YouTube, IG, and TikTok. And, of course, make sure you're going to razzball.com to check out the latest articles from all the great writers like Paul Blake. Paul Blake, before we go, anything coming out recently on razzball.com you want to promote?
Well, I have my top 45 out. I do have a top 60 that's pretty much ready to go. Just got to edit it and send it in. And then I think I may do one more push because like a lot of these rookie drafts, they've already happened or they're happening this weekend. People have been pushing them. I think I'm going to give you guys one more shot, one final update. Make sure we get these things right and set yourself up for the future.
Love it. Make sure you go follow that man at Paul Blake PB12 on Twitter. Thanks for joining us again. We are out of here.